Hi everyone, welcome back to class. Today we are going to discuss second chapter of Business Studies, 12th Principles of Management with the help of this mind map. What's the meaning of the principles of management? It is a broad and general guidelines for decision making and behavior of the managers. Okay, here we can discuss first the concept, next to nature, and next the significance of principles of management, that the importance of principles of management. So first, what's the concept of principles of management? Management principles are broad and general guidelines for decision making and behavior. They are not the rigid as pure science. Science principles are rigid. These principles are not like that. We are dealing with the human behavior. So apply to the creativity according to the demands of the situation. So this is the principles of management. And what are the nature of the principles of management? First one is the universal applicability. Principles of management is you have the universal applicability. That means it can be applied to all kinds of organization irrespective of size, either small or large, and nature of organization, business, government or social organization. Everywhere we can apply these principles of management. However, the extent of application varies, depends upon the nature and size of the organization. Next one it is a general guidelines. Okay, it's giving a framework only. Management principles are guidelines to action and cannot be used as a tailor-made tool. That's they do not provide ready-made solution to any problem. So, principles should be applied carefully in accordance with the needs of the organization. Next one, it is framed or formed by the practice and experience of the management thinkers. Okay, that is the management principles are evolutionary in nature, that is they have been developed through observation, experimentation and experience of the management thinkers. So then it is a flexible. It is a flexible in nature. Management principles are not rigid as in case of pure science principle. They are flexible and can be modified by the manager as per changes in the business environment. This principle cannot be applied blindly even in an identical situation. So next one, cause and effect relation. That's not like the pure science cause and effect relation. We are dealing with the human being. So here cause and effect relationship means they can be used in the similar situation in the large number of cases. It will get the same type of relation. If you are applying one principle, we will get the same type of reactions or result. That's only. For example, unity of command states that presence of a single superior avoids confusion. So, here presence of unity of command is the cause and the avoidance of confusion is the effect. Such type of cause and effect relationship we can paste in the principles of management. Next one, it is a contingent. What's the meaning of this contingent? The application of management principle is depend on contingent upon the prevailing condition at a particular period of time. So based on the condition, that applicability of management principles also will change. That's the meaning of here contingent. So management principle nature means it is a universal applicability, general guidelines framed by practice and experiment, and it is flexible. It has a cause and effect relationship and it's a contingent. Next, we want to discuss the significance or importance of principles of management. That's a symbol only. It helps to take a scientific decision. It helps to meet the changing environment requirements with optimum utilization of all types of resources. It provides the managers to the highest insight to the reality. These are the significance of our importance of principles of management. Next, we want to study the principles of management. Here generally we are discussing two people principles of management. First one is the Fayol and next one is the Taylor. Comparison we will do afterwards. First we want to know what are the principles proposed by these two people. First one is the Henry Fayol. He is a French management theorist. He is the mining engineer of the company. Through his experience, he proposed and developed some principles and applied in his own organization and proved that we can apply this principle in all over, in all types of organization. That's a universally we can apply this principle. So what are these principles? First one is the division of work. What's the division of work? He meant that according to this principle, all work should be divided into the small task or job, and each job must be assigned to a trained specialist who is competent to perform it. Okay, what's the benefit of such a classification or division? It helps each task simple. Okay, simpler and repetitive performance. Repeatedly they are performing the same task, help them to gaining the speed, accuracy and specialization. So we can ensure the specialization of work through the implementation of this principle in our organization. If you are not following this principle, lack of specialization will happen, and time consuming also. There will be a waste of time and effort due to the changes from one job to the another job. So the second one is the authority and responsibility. Here, Fayol suggesting that there should be a proper balance between authority and responsibility. That what's authority and what's responsibility? Authority means the right to give orders to the subordinate, and responsibility is the duty which a subordinate is expected to perform by virtue of his position in the organization. And this authority and responsibility should be balanced and go hand in hand. If it is not like that, what will happen? If the responsibility exceeds the authority, then subordinate cannot perform his duties. If authority exceeds the responsibility, subordinate may misuse that. So we should maintain the proper balance should be between the authority and responsibility. Next one is the discipline. What's the meaning of the discipline? Discipline means obedience to the rules and regulation of the organization, which is necessary for systematic working of the organization. That means discipline required good supervisor at all levels, clear and fair agreement regarding rules and judicious application of penalty, etc. That these all things will help to maintain the discipline inside the organization. So if we are maintaining this discipline or applying this principle in our organization, the smooth and systematic functioning of the business will be there, and better relation between management and employees. We can maintain the better relationship between the management and the employees. So next one, it is the unity of command. Here it is not there. That unity of command, one principle is there. But what is the unity of command? According to this principle, each subordinate should receive orders and be accountable to one and only one supervisor. Okay, one superior. We should receive orders from one superior only, one superior, and to be accountable to the same person. That principle is here. Dual subordination should be avoided as it creates the confusion in subordinates and conflict between the superiors. So, if you are following this principle, there will be no confusion in the mind of the subordinates, and the responsibility we can fix easily, and better performance as subordinates receive the orders from one superior only. If you are not following, conflict will come there, and that is the difficulty to fix the responsibility, and then what is the after effect of all those things? Lack of discipline in the organization. Next principle is the unity of direction. He proposed 14 principles. Okay, in this list you can see the 13 principles only, and one missing is the that was the unity of command. Okay, next one is the unity of direction. Unity of direction implies that there should be one head and one plan for group of activities having the same objective. We should have only one plan. We should have the one objective. All should work together for the attainment of that organizational objective. That is called unity of direction. all unit of organization should be moving towards the same objective through coordination and focused effort. It will ensure unity of action and coordination and avoid unnecessary duplication of efforts. Okay, next one is the subordination of individual interest to the general interest. What's the meaning of that one? Interest of the organization as a whole must prevail over the interest of the individuals or employees. That means in an organization, every individual has his own interests and company has got its own, company's own objectives. The principle demands that each individual should sacrifice personal interest for achieving the company's objectives. Okay, we should give the importance of and priority to the organizational objectives than our personal interest. That's a suggesting. If we can postpone our personal things, that time give first preference to the organizational objectives because it's a group effort. So next one, it is the remuneration of employees. Remuneration of employees here means overall pay and compensation should be fair to the both the employees and the organization. So employees should be paid fair wages which should given them at least a reasonable standard of living. In the same time, it should be within the paying capacity of the company. If we are giving the fair wages or salary to our employees, they will be satisfied and they will give their maximum or their optimum effort for the organization. So next principle is centralization and decentralization. Here also saying that we should maintain the balance between centralization and decentralization. Proper balance between centralization and decentralization in the organization. Then what is centralization and what is decentralization? Centralization refers to concentration of decision-making authority, whereas decentralization refers to the eventual distribution of authority at all levels of management. There is a need to balance subordinate involvement through decentralization and managers' retention of final authority through the centralization. Give the freedom to the subordinate through the centralization and retain the control with the managers through the centralization. And too much centralization leads to the delay of work and complete decentralization leads to the loss of control of the top level management. So, an optimum balance should be maintained according to the needs of the organization. Next principle is the scalar chain. Okay, scalar chain we will explain through that is another one said that is a scalar chain. It refers to the line of authority or the chain of superiors starting from the highest and moving towards the lowest rank. Here what he is saying, the organization should have a chain of authority and communication that runs from the top to the bottom and should be followed by the managers and the subordinates. Here, a formal line of authority from the highest to the lowest rank is known as the scalar chain. Here, that is the line of authority. Here, it is the highest level where that is the top level, it is the A, it's coming down. Okay, that chain is called the scalar chain. According to the Fayol, the chain should not be violated in the normal course of formal communication. In the formal communication, that chain should not be violated. That means A can communicate to B, then B should communicate to C, then D, E, F. D is not allowed to communicate direct to A. Okay. D should report or communicate to C, C to B, B to A. That is the scalar chain according to this principle. However, in the case of the emergency, okay, if any emergency case, if we want to communicate to this person, first to go to the up to here, this person to this person, first go to here, first C, then B, then A, then from A to L, and then M, like that should come. But in the case of M, that will take time. So, in the case of emergency, what to the same level of organization, in case of an urgency, permitted to a shortcut in the chain known as the gang plan. Okay, this is allowed to the gang plan is allowed. In the case of the emergency, they can communicate. It's the same level of managers. Here D can communicate to the G, but it should not allowed it to communicate like this. Okay, same level of managers can communicate each other. That is called what? A gang plan. They allows the direct communication between the two employees of the same level without following the scalar chain. So scalar chain means the line of authority that should flow from the top to the bottom, that we should follow. In the normal course of action, we should follow the chain, but in the urgent cases, we can shortcut is there. We can communicate with the different department, but the same level, same post people can communicate each other. That is called that gang plank. That the principle is called what? A gang plank. Next principle is the order. Okay, that's not giving orders. What's the meaning of order here? According to this principle, there should be a place for everything and everyone. Okay, two orders are there, material order and social order. I think understood that one. What is order? People and material must be in the suitable place at appropriate time for maximum efficiency. We are going to take one particular item. That item should be in a particular place. Then only we can take that item from there and we can continue our work. And each and every employee, through our organizational structure, we gave the post to each and every employee, and that employee should be in that place. Then only we can go approach that person and we can do the work with them. So that everything and every person should be in the proper place. That is called the order. Material order means there must be a certain place for everything and everything must be at the proper place. And what is a social order? There must be an appropriate appointed place for every employee and every employee must be in his or her appointed places. Then only we can complete our work effectively and efficiently. Next principle is the equity. Okay, what is the meaning of the equity here? There should not be any discrimination among the employees on the basis of religion, language, caste, sex, belief or nationality. Maintain the equity in all cases. If the management is partial or biased in dealing with the employees, then employees will get dissatisfied and will not contribute to their maximum potential. So here it must be noted that Farrell does not rule out use of force sometimes. Okay, he also advocates the use of strict treatment for lazy personnel in order to send the message that everyone is equal to the eyes of the management. He is not emphasizing to give the force to the everyone. But if any say lazy employees, we can use the power or we can use the command and send the message to the people. All employees are equal in the eyes of management. Next one, what is the stability of personnel? What is the stability of personnel meaning? According to this principle, there should be a proper effort to achieve stability and continuity of tenure of personnel. Personnel means staff. Okay. Here, employees should be selected and appointed after due and rigorous procedure. Once selected, they should be kept at their position for a minimum period and must be given reasonable time to show result. Employees' turnover should be minimized to maintain the organizational efficiency. Next one, what is the initiative? What is the meaning of the initiative? Initiative means workers should be encouraged and given an opportunity to take some initiative in making and executing the plans. Okay, Taylor suggested that employees at all levels should be encouraged to take the initiative in work-related matters. But it does not mean going against the established practices of the company for the sake of being different or doing something against the discipline. Okay. Next one is the expect the corps. That means a team spirit. What's a team means? Together everyone achieve the more. If you are working together, we can achieve more. So in this principle, according to the Fayol, in this principle, management should promote a team spirit and unity and harmony among the employees. Management should promote feeling of team spirit among employees, especially in the large organization, because otherwise objectives would be difficult to realize and there will be loss of coordination. So, expert Jacobs means team spirit. We should maintain the team spirit inside them. That's the manager's duty to maintain this team spirit among the employees. So these are the 14 principles of Henry Fayol. That's the general management principles. The next principle is Taylor's next principle is the scientific management principle. So applying the scientific techniques to the management principle, that is the scientific management principle that proposed by the F.W. Taylor. Okay, Frederick Wilson Taylor, he as the American mechanical engineer. Through his experience, he suggested some scientific methods. What are these scientific methods? First one is this scientific methods, no scientific principle. Those scientific principles are here. First one, science not rule of thumb method. What is a science not rule of thumb method? Harmony not discord, cooperation not individualism, development of each and every personnel to their his or her greatest efficiency and prosperity. Before going to these principles of management, scientific principles, what's the scientific management? So, scientific management refers to use of scientific, systematic, objective and logical principles and technique to various management functions. It says that there is always one best way to doing the work. Find out that best way and apply that way. That's the meaning of this scientific management principles. Scientific management means knowing exactly what you want meant to do and seeking that they do it in the best and cheapest way. That is the scientific management. For that one, he suggested some principles. That is a scientific management principle. First one is the science not rule of thumb. There should be a scientific study and analysis of each element of the job in order to replace the old rule of thumb approach or hit and trial method. Okay, here Fayol believed that there was only one best method to maximize the efficiency. This method can be developed through study and analysis. So, scientific methods involve investigation of traditional methods through work study, unifying the best practices and developing a standard method of work. We have to find out this best method through our experimentation or our observation, or like that we have to find out that one. That is a science, not a rule of thumb method. Next one is the harmony, not discord. What is the meaning of that one? Under the factory system of production, managers serves a link between the owners and the workers, and they have to get the work done from the workers. So, there always exists the possibility of class conflict between the managers and workers. So, there should be a complete harmony. We should create, the manager should create the complete harmony and proper understanding between the management and the workers, and they should work together for the organizational objectives. How we can maintain that harmony between the managers and the workers? So, here we have to apply one technique that is called the Mendel revolution. What's the Mendel revolution? Mendel revolution means management should share a part. Management, what is the Mendel revolution means? Management and workers should transform their thinking. We have to think in different way, and we have to think in this manager should think in the side of the worker side, and workers should think from the manager side. If you are thinking each other means even trade union will not think about going for strike. Okay, this mental revolution we are applying, that's the Japan people are applying this mental revolution in successful way. How we can apply that one? That means the management should share a profit, part of surplus or profit with the workers, and workers should also put their best effort so that their company makes the profit. So both sides understand each other and develop the thinking style of the workers to that level, and managers also think in upper level. That stage is called what? A mental revolution. So next one, what is cooperation, not individualism. That is an extension of this principle, harmony, not discard. There should be a cooperation between management and workers instead of individualism. So, managers should replace the word I to we. So, competition should be replaced by the cooperation. It is an extension of the principle of the harmony, not discard. So next one, it is a development of each and every person to their his or her greatest efficiency and prosperity. What's the meaning of that one? Industrial efficiency depends on personal competencies. Okay. So the efficiency of the workers and scientific management insist on development of the workers. So, according to the principle, management should aim to develop the workers to their greatest efficiency and prosperity. How? How is possible? The efficiency should be start from the selection process. Every organization should follow scientific system of selection, then selected workers should be assigned the job as per their physical, mental and intellectual capacities. So, increasing the efficiency of the workers will help to get the efficiency of the organization. These are the important principles of scientific management. Then we have to discuss, Tyler suggested some techniques. Okay, how we can apply this principle? So that here is suggesting some techniques. So first technique is the functional foremanship, next work study, and then differential pace wage system, and next to the standardization and the simplification of work, and here then we are suggesting that the mental revolution. Okay, first we will go through that is what is a functional foremanship. Okay, here that is a functional foremanship. Functional foremanship means it is a technique of scientific management. These techniques helps the application of scientific principles of management. So what is a functional foremanship? Functional foremanship means under the factory system, foreman is the lowest ranking manager and the highest ranking worker, with whom the workers are face-to-face contact on daily basis. Okay. Here, Tyler concentrated on improving the performance of the role of the foreman and identified a list of qualities of a good foreman and found that no single person can fit for all. Okay. So, what did as a result, he suggested the techniques of functional foremanship. As per functional foremanship, as per this task, this technique, the task of the supervision is divided into the several specialized functions, and each function is entrusted to the specialized foreman. Okay, under this here technique, Tyler advocates that separation of planning and execution. Planning one department and execution one department. Okay, here that is a planning department, planning in charge, and then here production in charge. So here divided into two parts, the planning function and execution function. Each function is to be managed by a group of 4 foremen. Okay, here 1, 2, 3, 4 foremen. Each function doing 4 foremen. Here also 1, 1, 4. So total 8 foremen. So one worker is get the supervision from the 8 people. This is the opposite or opposite of the Tyler principle, unity of command. Okay, Tyler is saying that Fayol is saying that we have to receive the order from the one person, but here Taylor is saying that one worker should be observed and give a guidance to the worker. 8 people should guide one person. So here what are this concept are extended to the lowest level shop floor management, and then planning department and production department, like that we are dividing. And functional foremanship is an extension of the division of work. It is an extension of the division of work also. Here what are the, again, under the planning in charge, disciplinarian is there, instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk is there. Under the production in charge, speed boss, gang boss, repair boss and inspector is there. So what's their work? I will go one by one. First one, instruction card clerk. Okay, instruction card clerk. Here what's the duty of him? So instruction card clerk to draft the instruction for the workers. Next, route clerk. What's the route clerk duty? To specify the route of production. Next, time and cost card clerk to prepare the time and cost sheet. Disciplinarian to ensure the discipline respectively. Okay. Next one, under the production department system, speed boss to ensure the timely and accurately completion of the job. Gang boss to keep the machine and tool etc. ready for operation by the workers. Repair boss to ensure the proper working condition of the machine and tools, and then inspector to check the quality of work. Here gang boss and repair boss, don't get confused. Gang boss, what he is doing, machine and tools etc. ready for operation of the working, but the repair boss, what he is doing, he or she is doing to ensure the proper working condition of the tools, machines and tools. Next one is the standardization and simplification of work. Okay, what is standardization and simplification of work means? Standardization refers to the process of setting standard for every phase of business operation. It involves fixing certain values or standard in quality and quantity of goods. By using standardized equipments, materials and production methods etc. It helps to reduce the given line or product to the fixed type, size and characteristics, to establish the interchangeability of the manufactured parts and products etc. Okay, it will help. Then what is the simplification? Simplification refers to eliminating unnecessary varieties, size and grades of the product manufactured by an organization. These two steps help to maintain the quality of standard, to set up the performance standard, to achieve the target on time. Next one, it is a work study. Okay, here there is a work study techniques. What is a work study techniques mean? So work study refers to the study of the work. It involves the following thing: motion study, time study, method study and fatigue study. Okay, first one is the method study. What is a method study? Method study is concerned with finding the best way of doing the job. First onwards, Taylor, F.W. Taylor is saying that one best method is there. We have to find out that method. That is through the method study we can do that work. Objective of method study is to minimize the cost of production and maximize the quality and satisfaction of the customers. Next one is the motion study. Second one is motion study. What is a motion study? It refers to making a thorough analysis of various motion being performed by a worker while he is doing a particular task. The purpose is to detect and eliminate unnecessary movement or motion and to find out the best method of doing the particular job. It helps to save the time and increase the production. So next one, it is the time study. Time study refers to a technique which is used to determine the standard time taken by a worker of reasonable skill and ability to perform a well-defined job. It helps to determine how much work an employee should be able to do in a given period of time. Okay, this objective of this time study means to determine number of workers to be employed, to frame the suitable incentive scheme and to determine the labor cost. Next and last one is the fatigue study. What is the fatigue study means? It refers to determine the amount and frequency of intervals. Okay, interval required for completing a task. Fatigue study seeks to determine the amount and frequency of rest interval to complete a task. These are the various work study methods. Next one is the differential piece wage system. Here, differential piece wage system. What is this? Wages are to be paid on the basis of the work done. This differential piece rate system refers to the system in which efficient and inefficient workers are paid at different rates. How we can implement this one? Incentives is directly linked with the productivity. First of all, a standard task is established with the help of the time and motion study. Then two rates are fixed. Higher wage rate for workers who produce the equal to or more than standard output, and low wage rate for workers who do not reach the standard. Like that we can give we can give the incentives, or we can motivate our employees to the greatest level. Here last we have to do that is a comparison between Fayol principle and Taylor principle. Here, that is a perspectiveness is the Fayol is saying that, Henry Fayol is saying that top level management level function he is giving preference, but Taylor the factory level or the lower level management he is concentrating. Applicability means it is, we can use the applicable, universal applicable, but here we can apply to the specialized situation only we can apply this principle. So, personality, he is a practitioner and Taylor is a scientist. And status, he is the father who, Fayol, Henry Fayol is the father of general management, and F.W. Taylor is the father of the scientific management. Here we are, we can go to the in detailed way, a little elaborated way, this comparison. So top level management, then another one is a floor level management. And next one is the unity of command is strictly followed, but it is not considered as the important, because we are giving that functional foremanship. And next one is applicability, universal applicability. This is specialized situation only we can apply this one. And next one is the basis of formation through the personal experience. And next one here from the observation and experimentation. And improving the here Henry Fayol is focusing improving the overall administration, but it is increasing the productivity. He is a practitioner, it is a scientist, and general theory of administration is giving the important. Here it is giving the scientific management, giving importance to the scientific. Thank you.